Hey everybody, I'm CJ, and I'm just kind of wondering, did you guys think Villains Month was a complete waste of time? Well, if so, you're going to enjoy this episode. Alrighty, and this episode, just to let you guys know, has nothing to do with Villains Month, except for that little intro there. So, this week, I'll be reviewing Oz Issue 3 by Zenescope, and Buck Rogers in the 25th Century by Herms Press. So let's get started with Oz Issue 3. So for any of you who are unfamiliar with why this is being called Oz, think Wizard of Oz except boobs. And that pretty much sums up the artwork. The story is kind of a sci-fi meets fantasy. The Tin Man doesn't really look like the Tin Man. He looks more like a robot almost. The Straw Men, and yes, I do mean men as in multiple, are considered to be the villains, or kind of like the foot soldiers to the Wicked Witches. Yes, as far as we have been led to believe, the Flying Monkeys still do exist. So, for all of you who like tradition, good for you, I guess. Overall, the story was very well done, and I can tell that there is a lot of thought put into this story, and I mean the entire story, before they put it into process, unlike certain other miniseries that I could call into question, but I'm not going to for certain reasons. The story right now, they're looking for 3 pieces for a scepter, which is supposed to either bring the destruction or save Oz from destruction, with Dorothy. Yes, that image would be correct. That is what Dorothy looks like in the comic. Just go with it. Hey, you know what? I'm not complaining. Is looking for these 3 mystical MacGuffins that will make this scepter. The scepter, again, is supposed to... We're not really too sure what exactly it does, but from what you can guess, it's either going to kill the witches, as hinted in this issue, or it'll send them to some other dimension, which could very well happen. It would be an interesting twist of events, if nothing else. Overall, the story was well done, but with that being said, it's not perfect. However, for the time being, I'm going to do something I've never done on the show and give this series a go out and buy it now, even though we're only about halfway through. And just in case all of you are wondering, yes, unfortunately, this is a mini-series, which means it probably won't be going up to 100 issues like Grimm Fairy Tales is. Overall, I definitely give this somewhere in between a go out and buy it now and buy it if you see it. So with that being said, let's move on to Buck Rogers and the 25th Century. Alrighty, so Buck Rogers issue 2. This issue was very interesting, and I do mean that in a good way this time. It kind of argued the fact of moral opportunities and kind of sort of racism is wrong, but it didn't smack you over the head with it, which was a nice treat, whereas it's very easy for a lot of comics, movies, TV shows to take a topic like racism is wrong and to just flat out beat you over the head with it. So that was nice. Other than that, there's not really much else I can say for this, except that it was a good story. It wasn't bad, it wasn't terrific, but it is a good story. Keep in mind that this is an ongoing series, and we are only at issue 2 with it, so a bit of patience is required. Also, with that being said, a little bit about the story. So, Buck Rogers infiltrates, I guess it's like their version of Chinatown. They don't really explain it very well. But anyways, he goes into the Chinese sector to recruit 2 Chinese Americans to help fight off the Chinese who have, I guess, taken over America, which has been implied all throughout issue 1 in the current issue we have right here. Now, there is something I do want to point out. So, Buck Rogers is from the 1920s and was frozen for, I guess, roughly 500 years. with that being said, if you are from the 25th century and someone from the 1920s is saying you're acting like an asshole because you're being racist, that's kind of bad. Just pointing that out. Also, with that being said, I would like to make a mental note that no one from the 1920s, or at least no white male from the 1920s, would have really cared about racism unless if it was directed at them. Now, I do understand that Buck Rogers is the main protagonist of this series and that he should be seen as in the right and morally in the right. So, yeah, okay, I understand why they did that. However, from a historical standpoint, yeah, it would seem more that the 25th century person would be lecturing Buck Rogers on being racist, but considering that this is called Buck Rogers, and that, yeah, that pretty much explains all of it right there. So with that being said, I give this a pick it up if you see it. Again, wasn't fantastic, wasn't horrible, but it was good. So, pick it up if you see it. I'm CJ, and this has been Hidden Comics, and I guess I'll see you guys later this week when I talk about Robin the Boy Wonder. Bye.